Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. MAJ disapproves of COVID relaxation by the government. Entertainment players react to the reopening of the sector. And later in sports, University of the West Indies FC have pulled out of the Premier League. I'm Giovanni Dennis and here are the details. We begin with news of long lines and angry senior citizens at vaccination sites across the corporate area. Today marked the resumption of the government's vaccine program for citizens 50 years and over, requiring their second dose, and yet again several persons were left disappointed. The Mona Aging and Wellness Center had to be closed due to the overwhelming crowd. Director of Family Health Services in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Melody Ennis, said despite instructions from the Ministry of Health, some individuals turned up without appointments. The ministry says only people who received a telephone call or text message were to visit vaccination sites. We'll have more on this developing story as it unfolds. To other news, while there's jubilation on one side now that the COVID containment measures have been eased, experts in the medical fraternity are painting a grim picture of what lies ahead. Shamila Pullen has been speaking with them and now joins us live. Shamila, I gather there are concerns about a surge in COVID cases. What can you tell us?
Thanks, Gio. You are correct, because the fact is the pandemic is far from over, and we have seen where countries which have loosened measures have paid the price. Countries like Italy and the UK come to mind. Now, I spoke with the president of the Medical Association of Jamaica, and they are not in favor of relaxing the measures in the country at this time. With Jamaica's positivity rate at 7.8%, the Medical Association of Jamaica says the government's new COVID-19 protocols are not in line with the guidelines from the World Health Organization (WHO). President of the association, Dr. Andrew Manning, says this is of great concern given that the country is still trying to recover from a surge a few months ago.
We would have thought that before you ease restrictions, you do so according to some kind of scientific guidance. Now, the WHO have recommended that prior to easing restrictions, you maintain a positivity rate of 5% or less for about 2 to 3 weeks. And if you're able to maintain that level of positivity rate, you can ease restrictions. We seem to be not heeding that guidance.
Instead, he argues it would have been prudent for the government to ease the restrictions gradually. That way, there would be proper monitoring and control of the virus should there be another surge, especially with the Delta variant spreading rapidly around the world.
We're talking about having a concert on July 1. Now, if you're going to be telling people for the last 15 months that we can't have gatherings like this because of the risk of it being a super spreading event, how are we going to go from the restrictions that we have now to on July 1, which is just a couple of weeks from now, to have potentially a large super spreading event?
The implications, he warned, will not be good. Dr. Manning says in the last surge, Jamaica was struggling to get oxygen. This is in addition to challenges with the availability of beds at hospitals and the number of healthcare workers to deal with cases. The MAJ is urging the government to reconsider these new measures.
Bear in mind that we have less than 10% of our population having received any of the vaccination, and less than 5% of our population are fully vaccinated, a very small amount. And we are seeing now that there are challenges in getting the vaccinations. I would have preferred and would have advised that before we're going to have widespread easing of the restrictions, one of the things you need to consider is where we are in terms of our vaccination programs.
I also spoke with Associate Professor at the School of Public Health at the University of Technology, Dr. Alverston Bailey. He was a lot more understanding of the government's position. He's, however, recommending that COVID marshals be deployed where there are large gatherings. He says these marshals should have the power to arrest anyone who breached the protocols.
Let us try and arrange alcohol and drug-free stage shows, something akin to the jazz and blues concerts of the recent past. We must consider that we should arrange COVID negative parties, which is to encourage persons who come to venues to show a negative COVID test.
So appealing to citizens to follow the COVID guidelines or face serious consequences.
At any stage events, let us put up appropriate barriers to control the flow of patrons and enforce social distancing. All Jamaicans must recognize the generosity of the government. Let us return this favor with good behavior at all times. If we should throw caution to the wind and behave with reckless abandonment at this time, and there is a significant surge of cases in August and September, the government might be forced to reimpose even more stringent and draconian restrictions in the near future.
Giovanni?
Thanks so much, Shamila. Well, players in the entertainment industry have also been reacting to the announcement by Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Here's Cody and Barrett with that report.
Just in time for summer, that's the view of some persons after hearing that restrictions on the entertainment sector have been loosened. A long-awaited announcement for players in the industry after suffering massive losses for over a year.
Speaking in Parliament on Tuesday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced that organizers of small outdoor events will be allowed to apply for permits to host no more than 100 people. For indoor events, no more than 60% of the capacity of the venue, and organizers of large events will need to satisfy an approval process through the Ministry of Culture and the Office of the Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management. And not long after the announcement, before the night was even over, we saw at least one eager party promoter coming out of hibernation with this party flyer. The announcement was good news for many who were on the brink of shutting down.
I think it's not too soon, it's not too late. We've been suffering in the industry for over a year and a half now, and I think the metrics of, people dying daily and new cases have come down to where it's satisfactory.
I think it's the beginning and a good start, especially for restaurants, for bars, and even with churches and theaters and movies and all of those things.
Yes, there's a reason to be elated, but there's also a time now to think about how we go forward. Your question is relevant because people have been suffering, but it's also a time for us to reset our thinking and reset how the industry operates.
This step in the right direction is important for us to be able to demonstrate to ourselves and to the country that we can safely start going back to normal. It's not a free-for-all, and I'm well aware of that. And I do hope that the other players in the industry are aware of the fact that we have a great responsibility to make sure that we balance lives and livelihood in a way that is beneficial to all.
It should have been a long time, but I mean, it's a good gesture. It's saving a lot of lives right now because a lot of people depend highly on the entertainment industry.
But are the public just as excited as these entertainment players?
Right now, I'm glad because me can't go on an event because long time I don't touch on event. So, Andrew, big up yourself. You do the right thing. I'm proud to know that my Prime Minister opened by the country because people are suffering. So it's a good move in make, and thank God for that, and I hope God bless him and keep him.
I think it should be put on pause, isn't it? Now until them can really control the disease that blazing out like volcano.
I feel good, man, and Joeless, we can come out the road now and stop get burn, boom up again, pampa, and Joeless, we give thanks to that, man.
While the gateway for the entertainment sector to rebound is now open, they still have a long way to go. The entertainment industry is one of the leading sources of employment in our country and one of the leading foreign exchange earners.
In a press release issued by the Entertainment Advisory Board early Wednesday morning, it appealed to all members of the entertainment industry to comply with all mandatory protocols to ensure that this time around the restart can be sustained and prolonged without incident. In the meantime, members of the entertainment industry are remaining optimistic that as more persons become vaccinated, the global health crisis will fade. Reporting from downtown Kingston, I'm Cody Ann Barrett for TVJ News.
And it's now time for a break here on the Midday News, but please stay with us. We'll have much more when you return.